Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming to my session about unleashing vector search with Spring AI, LangChain4J, Hibernate Vector in the Oracle database. My name is Juarez Barbosa Jr. I work for Oracle as a developer evangelist. I'm coming from Dublin, Ireland. I have 30 years of experience in software engineering and developer relations, several different companies, as you can see here. And I'm a frequent speaker at several conferences. I work with developers, developer outreach. So I participate in hackathons, I deliver meetup sessions, I organize workshops, and that's what I do, okay? Of course, I work for Oracle in the first place, but I usually say that I work for you, developers. So feel free to approach me here at the conference if you have ideas, if you want to provide feedback, or have any discussions about the content that I'm going to present here today. Or you can also reach out to me on social media, all right? But it's not a talk about my experience and profile, so let's get started. Okay, this is the agenda for today. I'm going to do a little bit of level setting here, just to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Okay, so we'll start by exploring artificial intelligence, talk a little bit about GenAI, LLMs, AGI, SI, GenAI providers as well. Explore a little bit of agentic AI and agents. That's the theme for this conference, by the way. And then move to present the Oracle Database 23 AI with all its features, including vector data support, and being able to act as a vector data store as well. This version has over 300 features, okay, so it's impossible for me to talk about all of them, but if you are curious about a specific slide that I have here where we have a block diagram with many other features, feel free again to approach me here, okay? Then I will present Oracle AI Vector Search, which is quite powerful, actually, if you decide to use it only with SQL or PL SQL, pretty much all the features and capabilities are there for you. But the nice thing is that with the open source frameworks, all the complexity is encapsulated for you, okay? As an example, many of the frameworks like LangChain4J, you can just use Fluent Interface Style API, okay, which we Java developers love, and that's good news for us developers, all right? I'll try to present as many demos as I can here. I have plenty of them, all right? And after that, I will provide you all the links, technical resources. Actually, the demos, they have QR codes. So if you are interested in, replicating this exercise here, at your home or, I don't know, your own time, it's just a matter of scanning the QR code. It will point you to my blog posts at Oracle Developers. And from there, you can also get access to the specific GitHub repository with all the code and the examples, all right? Okay, so speaking of artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, made the access to generative AI and AI in general, quite popular back in 2022, mid-2022, but we know that AI started decades ago, right? We have this, I would say, famous conference that happened in the US where they coined the term artificial intelligence. We have, all the brilliant minds like Marvin Misk, and that started the early AI leadership, actually as a kind of discipline. And he's one of the co-founders of the MIT AI Lab. And they also started to kind of represent artificial intelligence by using symbolic AI and logic-based approaches. So the very first representations and ways that you could actually translate that into machine intelligence, they also started, a wave of trying to somehow express that, right? We can talk about the early neural networks as well and the models and this concept of a perceptron, which is quite important. And I've started my career working with a focus on automation systems, robotics, industrial control systems and so on. And the control solutions, and the applications that we have at manufacturing plants and so on, they also started to use this concept, decades ago. And now it's interesting because we are seeing a new wave of artificial intelligence, robotics, all the things, and the so-called emerging technologies, right? Exponential technologies. When we consider the intersection of AI and the Internet of Things, we have also blockchain, we have also quantum that is coming, with several initiatives, and the computers are starting to be more accessible for researchers and also even for companies. When you consider the intersection of all these technologies, the opportunities are simply fantastic. And this wave actually, and this movement actually created pretty much all the labs that we have nowadays with the main universities, first in the US, but of course all over the world, including Europe. Just a quick overview of AI, because at the end of the day we have AI as a superset, and then we have machine learning, supervised and unsupervised learning, and then we have deep learning as a more specialized area. And of course we have GenAI, so this is just to position it. And considering GenAI, even the models, because some people, when they are starting, they think that we only have one type of model, but we have a model for chat completions, we have models for text-to-speech, TTS, we have models for embedding, many different models, specialized models, I would say, and the so-called transformer model as well. When we have, the acronym GPT, the T stands for transformer. That's a kind of specialized approach to creating models. Okay, let's speak about GenAI, okay? Generative, because at the end of the day, we are talking about synthetic content, right? We are generating content, artificial content, okay? This is just an interesting representation of Antwerp in Belgium, that I created this morning. Picture it in a kind of, futuristic cyberpunk cityscape here with some flying drones, robots. But I just wanted to show you how easy it is now to create content, right? When I say content, actually I'm talking about text, images, videos, even code, right? We started to use a couple of years ago, possibly, the co-pilots, right? The coding assistants. At the end of the day, you were driving and the co-pilot was assisting you with code completion, suggestions, all those features. But now with agents, actually, we are actually more as a kind of tech lead for some artificial developers, right? And that's interesting because this opportunity then accelerates the delivery of solutions, and the productivity that we can get out of that is quite interesting. I'm always surprised because I know several engineers, and I go to conferences and I talk with many developers, and I have seen experienced engineers saying that, oh, AI does not work, the code that I create is not good, and all those things. But at the end of the day, this generation is the result of an input prompt, right? And there's an entire area now called prompt engineering, and now we are also talking about context engineering and all the techniques, SDD as well, spec-driven development. But the main point here is, of course, the result will depend on the quality of your prompt and the context that you provide, because we have to think that pretty much the same way, the practices of extreme programming and pair programming and all those techniques, right? If I'm sitting with a developer to, develop an algorithm or create a method or anything, business logic, whatever, possibly the first interactions we'll code, and then we'll have a look again at the code and try to optimize it, and we will exchange the ideas and optimize and fine-tune the code. And you have to think the same way when you are interacting with a coding tool and the LLM models, right? Because think about that, the model is extremely intelligent, right? If you ask a question about, I don't know, mechanics or biology or, DevOps or cloud computing or Rust or Java, whatever, right? You'll get an answer, okay? So given how intelligent the model is, actually you have to narrow down and actually limit, the scope of what you are trying to achieve. And the literature, we have two different ways of defining that. Some authors, they call it, model spec, okay, and other people, they call it a constitution, right? At the end of the day, it's only about a markdown, file that you go there and you define what you want to achieve, what you want to avoid, right? It's important for you possibly to also talk about the different APIs and the specific versions that you want to work with. And then with that, then you can create, the frontiers and start to get more meaningful results, okay? So think about that. You are actually acting as a kind of tech lead for developers, but artificial developers, okay? It's like you are leading a team, with people, but now we have to think that we have a new entire continent of super intelligence, artificial software engineers, all right? And if you know how to drive it the right way, you will get fantastic results. Of course, possibly the code won't be, I would say, perfect, right? As I said, pretty much the same way when we sit with the developer to do XP and, pair programming. But the productivity that you have, possibly it will take for you to create the bare bones of a solution 1 week or 2 weeks. Okay, 80% of the code will be there for you. Then you can revisit the code and address the so-called non-functional requirements, right? That we as software architects and solution architects, we know about. Like, I don't know, scalability, performance, maintainability, all those things, right? But the benefit is that productivity and the delivery of code and the acceleration of your solutions is there for you, okay? Of course, I don't want to explore that and go deep into these topics here, but as any other technology, AI and GenAI, we have all the ethical issues around that. So misuse, deepfakes, with a photograph of you, there are some solutions that you can go and create a video of you doing something, I would say, questionable. Bias and discrimination as well. We have, of course, another area that is extremely interesting called responsible AI, where you can also, create the guardrails and, and all the inspections and checks to avoid, I would say, results that are not so desirable. Automation and job replacements, that's an important one as well. Some people say, oh my God, the GenAI as a software engineer, I thought that I would be safe, and now we are having, the level of automation. I don't believe that software engineers will get replaced. What I believe is that if you don't learn how to use the GenAI tools, models, and all the technologies that are available for us now, possibly we will have to cope with some very challenging, situations in the future. But of course, we can learn the technology, and as software engineers, learning, it's a lifelong process for us. So no tricks here, right? And of course, as I said, cybersecurity and cyber criminals, as well as any other technology, the rogue hackers, the so-called crackers, they always try to explore tech to do what they want, but it's happening with GenAI as well. Okay, fake phone calls, and they can just copy the tone of your voice and call your mom and try to trick her. But that's it. Okay, let's move forward. I have plenty of stuff to talk about here. Okay, so yes, at the end of the day, GenAI, on top of everything, we have applications, right? And my talk is not a talk for machine learning, deep learning engineers. You should not expect anything related to the low-level math and statistics, sorry. And it's not about that, okay? I just want to show you how to use the Java open source frameworks to create new applications where you can infuse AI, or perhaps you can even modify existing applications and augment them with all the benefits of GenAI. And that is actually impacting all the business verticals and market niches. And if you look at a business process and you decompose that into use cases and functionalities, there's always an opportunity for you to eliminate waste, and add more productivity. And AI is a great opportunity for us as developers as well. If you want to create a new application, startup, whatever, right? All the opportunities are there for us. So I would say that it's a quite unique moment regarding technology. I'm lucky enough to be working with IT professionally for 30 years now, but 8 years before I was a kind of, indie, amateur programmer. I've never seen something happening before like that, and I've experienced several waves. I started to program using 8-bit computers, Zilog, Z80, processors, 8085, Intel, and then, I've participated in the PC evolution era, and then, late 90s also the smartphone era. I've worked for companies like Nokia with a focus on, Java Micro Edition, Series 40 feature phones, and Symbian smartphones, all those things. My first tenure with Oracle, actually, I was acting as a blockchain developer advocate, and then I changed jobs, joined Microsoft also with a focus on blockchain. All those experiences with AI now, it's interesting because we have the entire ecosystem, academia, we have big tech companies, startups, researchers, the public sector, all the governments, they are all discussing AI, creating AI solutions, investing in AI. So this wave is actually accelerating at a phenomenal speed. And the nice thing is AI is now a commodity, okay? Because pretty much similar to what happened with, the advent of cloud computing in the past, if I wanted to deploy an application at scale, I'd need to create, and deploy my own data center and acquire all the hardware, create the networks, deploy the servers, the computers, have things to, I would say, support that. But with cloud computing now, you can just go select a given, cloud player with all the services you create. You have your subscription, your account. You go, you select the services, click, 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 and you provision everything, right? You can use things like infrastructure as code, which I love, by the way. And now with AI, same thing. 10 years ago or 15 years ago, if I wanted to deploy a model at scale, I would need to address this entire IT governance, not to mention, things like, the initial upfront investments, CAPEX, not only OPEX and the operational side of it, but now with AI, and the advent of course, ChatGPT and OpenAI, but now we have Oracle, we have the OCI generative AI service as well. With all the models, they are available for you, and plenty of SDKs for all the programming languages, a REST API. I can just go and select the model that I want to work with. So it's extremely easy for us, and that's why AI is now a commodity, okay? Last things here, AGI and ASI, okay? AGI is a concept, is a concept that actually they say that at the end of the day, there are several areas regarding artificial intelligence where the models and the solutions are already at the same level, with humans, on par with humans, let's say text-to-speech or, speech generation and text translation. But other areas are still evolving. But given all this convergence and the acceleration of it, the scenario where we have all the different competencies at the same level as us, they say that we'll have AGI. Some people in the industry, they say that we're going to reach that, I don't know, next year, or that will happen, in 2027, 2030. But that's what AGI is about. That's the ultimate goal. And they also started to talk about something about ASI, the super intelligence. They say that at some point we'll have, those models and the solutions with, they will be so skilled and intelligence that if we actually consider the skills and, and the 8 billion people that we have nowadays, the models will be more capable of everyone, okay? Yeah, speaking now of LLMs and GenAI providers, okay, as I said, what happened is I call them providers, but at the end of the day, I'm talking about the cloud players, Oracle, all the competitors. But the nice thing is now we have, the models that you can use out of the box, okay, without any need for further tuning, or it depends on what you want to do. We also have the open source models, and now even the Chinese players, right? I'm not gonna mention any of them here, but and on top of that, we have the REST APIs, as I said, the SDKs, and the GPUs that are available for you at scale. Okay, that was actually a critical requirement and difficult to acquire because they are very expensive as well, but you can get it between double quotes, kind of as a service. Regardless if we're talking about getting that as a platform, as a service, PaaS or SaaS service from a cloud provider, like the OCI GenAI service that is available for us. And with GPUs, the good thing is that pretty much the same way as I used the analogy regarding on-prem and cloud computing, if you decide to deploy a data center and acquire GPUs, that's extremely expensive, and you have to address things like, depreciation, end of life, and so on. And now everything is there for you. I want just to highlight that the Oracle Cloud is actually now among the main players regarding GPU availability, mainly because we are the only cloud where GPUs are available, at the bare metal level, okay? Because many cloud providers, they give you access to GPUs, but that is somehow virtualized, okay? But with the Oracle Cloud, you can actually get access to the low-level GPU using the bare metal servers that we have. And that's nice, and that's why we are now seeing so many partnerships with the main cloud players, but also companies, like xAI, OpenAI, and so on. We are building the data center, the largest GPU data center in Abilene, Texas. Okay, that's part of the Stargate project that possibly you've heard about, where we have some investors. I think SoftBank and MGX and OpenAI is a partner as well. Okay. All right, time to talk about, start to talk about agents and the agentic AI here, and then we'll explore the Java APIs, okay? Yes, agentic AI and agents, at the end of the day, some people think that we are talking about the same thing. Yes, somehow, but it is not the same thing in terms of the concept, okay? The agentic AI, it will refer that a system where you have agents, but they can act autonomously, okay? For mission-critical applications, depending on the situation, that is a problem because we need to have the so-called, human in the loop to have proper checkpoints and so on, because otherwise you can have as a result some situations that will create problems for you. And the agents, they are software components at the end of the day, as we are used to them, right? That can somehow perceive the environment, make decisions, and also take actions, okay? Because with LLMs, we started, as I said, with a focus on generating synthetic content. And 2024 was the year of GenAI and the exploration of models and all those things. But this year, we are actually talking about agents and being able to give the solutions more autonomy. Like the example that I cited, when you go now to use vibe coding tool, at the end of the day, you are not driving anymore and being assisted by a co-pilot, but you are acting as a kind of tech lead, but the agents and the LLMs and the models, they are actually coding for you, okay? So you are perhaps the co-pilot or the tech lead, you decide about the role you like the most. Okay, agents, as I told you, there are two different approaches. Interestingly, the Spring AI project, Spring, LangChain4J, all those projects, they have fantastic documentation sets. They documented some specific design patterns, okay, regarding workflows, and they say that workflows are better because for mission-critical applications, you want to have some level of autonomy, but you don't want to actually, I would say, be running a risk of perhaps having undesired results, okay? And with agents, as I said, a more autonomous approach to it. You give the agents and the models the leeway to do whatever they want, and then you expect the results to see if that will actually address your requirements and what you are expecting out of that. We have this concept of react, reason, and act as well. The change of thought, and to prompting and breaking down the complex tasks into steps, and then generating, step by step, the needed bits, to give you a solution. And the interface acting, also interfacing with external tools, APIs, databases, and all the frameworks, they have something called function calling, and they can use external tools. And now we have the model context protocol as well as a kind of new approach to that to avoid all the complexities of doing one-to-one integration. Pretty much the same way that happened with middleware components in the past. You may remember the enterprise service buses, right? Every time you need to interact with an external system, you have another single point of failure, another moving part, and usually you have to work with a different data format. One is using JSON, the other system is using XML, and one is using HTTP as a protocol, the other is using, JMS or Corba, or perhaps that's a kind of LDAP server that you have to integrate with. MCP is good because you can isolate this integration behind a server, and then you have a common protocol that can be used by clients, and that can be a coding tool, integrated development environment, or it can be client code in Java or any other programming language. So these, I would say, the MCP protocol is important for us then to create a more controllable scenario for us in terms of integration and leveraging all those resources in a dynamic way that is required by agents. Okay, let's talk about the Oracle database now. This database is quite interesting. It has over 300 major new features. It's impossible for me to talk about all of them here during my talk, but I want to focus on the features that are AI related, okay? The first pillar, AI for data features. By the way, if you scan this QR code, there's actually a free version of it that you can run locally as a Docker container. You can download VirtualBox VM, and it's the same upstream component, okay? The Oracle Cloud, we have the Oracle Autonomous Database. Autonomous because even before this wave of AI solutions, and Oracle started to adopt AI to actually have a background running processes addressing the recurrent tasks that are executed by DBAs, things like performance tuning, security patching, indexes, optimization, and so on. That's why we call it autonomous. But as I said, the core of the database, the Oracle Database 22AI Free and the Autonomous Database, they are all the same product, okay? So again, if you want to replicate my examples here, I have the blog post and the code, the Java code is there for you as well. You can use the Oracle Database because it is actually a vector data store now, right? The focus here is on something called AI vector search then. Sorry. And you can see many blocks here with plenty of features, okay? Things like, JSON relational duality. It is another way that you can naturally map and address the impedance mismatch regarding the relational world and the object world that we have in Java, ORMs. We have plenty of them, even the Hibernate as a kind of a reference implementation for JPA and so on. But this is extremely performatic because, of course, this is the Oracle database, guys. So Oracle is a company that is 48 years old now, and it started with the database. So this database has all the features, the capabilities regarding mission-critical applications. You can see globally distributed database here. Okay, so it is actually, in my humble opinion, the best database that we have so far. There's no database to compete with us. Let's focus on what is a vector database now. The vector database, at the end of the day, it can store vectors, okay, of floating point numbers. Those are actually the embeddings that you can create out of structured data, okay? Because with the traditional database, usually we I can create a relational database instance and have a table, but when I run queries using ANSYS SQL, okay, I have the where clause, but I'm retrieving data based on a specific search key. With unstructured data, it should be this. With unstructured data, you know, images, videos, PDF files, it is a little bit different because you need a new way actually to filter out the data and have the result set that you need. And that can be based on the specific characteristics of your data. Okay, so you can actually use this vector database and the embedding models to compute the floating point vectors and store them. And the database has a new vector data type, okay, that you can create when you are specifying the DDL for your table, okay, and you store the vectors there. And it's good because now you can see the unstructured data as a kind of entity, okay, that and similar entities that will share the same characteristics, okay, so it actually will expand the possibilities in terms of solutions that you can create, okay. This is the representation of a vector. Then, as you can see here, I have a video, a photo, and a document. I will use the embedding model to actually create the vector embeddings, okay? And it will enable something that we call the semantic search then, okay? Based on the specific characteristics that are shared by my data entities, okay? Representation here, as you can see, okay, I get the unstructured data. I will have the embedding model then to compute and transform that into my vectors and have the embeddings stored, okay? I have actually my examples. I will show you the database and the table and how it looks like. Okay, so the nice thing is, given that now you are not only focusing on running queries, you know, with ANSYS SQL that are somehow constrained by specific search keys, the possibilities are amazing. So again, the number of use cases and business verticals that you can address explodes, okay? You can create solutions that are extremely powerful by using a vector data store and a vector database like 23AI. This technology is also enabled, as I said, by something called vector search, okay? And again, I want to highlight the Oracle AI vector search here because remember, this is supported by the Oracle database, okay? So it is not something that, okay, I can think about my GenAI solution and vector search and enabling the Java application, but after that, I will need to, you know, go to address the non-functional requirements in terms of availability, high availability, transparent failover, all those things. Of course, we are talking about the Oracle database. So things and all the mechanisms and the capabilities that are there for decades now, they are also available for your GenAI applications, okay, out of the box. So this is something that you have to consider because it is not perhaps another non-functional requirement that you have to address. You get it, you know, out of the box along with the all different you know, data formats and data types that we support, because the Oracle database is what we call a converged database. Okay, we can store, we can have graph, we can have even blockchain tables. Okay, if you want to leverage the characteristics of a blockchain solution like traceability, better security, and so on, you don't need to go and stand up a new blockchain framework and network with plenty of nodes. Okay, the blockchain table, you can create a specific type of table that will actually support you to use the features and the capabilities of blockchain. We also have NoSQL, we have relational, we have a JSON, and now the vector data type as well, right? Okay, just to move to our Java-related discussions then, okay, let's finish with AI vector search, as I explained, traditionally the queries, they were actually focusing on having value-based searches, but that's not the case anymore. And we need to actually evolve because unstructured data in this new world of rich data, and we have so many different solutions creating data that is unstructured, right? And we want to have intelligence to work with this type of data that is enabled by vector search and the so-called semantic search, okay? And again, the representation of this vector here, but when I actually want to run this vector search, there are several different, distance calculations that you have to do. The nice thing is that the Oracle database, we released a database that is extremely robust, rock solid database for vector-based solutions, because you have all the calculations available for you out of the box as well, okay? So we extended the SQL language, and we have specific functions that you can use to have calculations like dot, cosine, Euclidean, and so on. And even if you decide, okay, I don't want to use Python or Java, you can just use plain SQL or PL SQL to create a GenAI solution. And the nice thing, everything with the extensions and the contributions from Oracle to the open source frameworks, LangChain4J, Hibernate Vector, and Spring AI, capabilities and all the complexity is abstracted, okay? As I said, it's just a matter of having one line of code with fluent interface. You can provide the parameters the way you want the semantic search to be executed, and you're good to go. Yes, again, this is a representation of that entity that I talked about. Okay, you can see here we have the support incident. So I extract the features and I create this vector, and we call each number a dimension. Okay, this dimension is interesting as well because when you get a model and you check its specification, you see that a model has a dimension or many dimensions. And when you go to create the database table and specify the vector data type in the vector column, you have actually to, I would say, align the dimensions, okay? That's usually a common problem when developers are starting to work with that, but you have to pay attention to, okay? I'm gonna emphasize that when I show the code. And now with the representation of unstructured data, let's say I have a support incident here related to a desktop crashing. And a couple of additional ones where the desktop is running slow. You can see that as I extract this information and I create the vectors, then they will be similar, but they will go to different quadrants, okay? And that is what is enable us to run the semantic search and compare the similarity and have the similarity searches, okay? And that's extremely powerful, as I said, because now with unstructured data, you are not constrained by, I would say, having elaborate schemes to actually understand where the data is actually positioned. That is enabled by the vector data store, the vector data type, and AI vector search. As an example here, I have a tiger. Of course, the tiger goes to the set of animals, okay, and I have fruits and cities in the United States as well. So now you understand why semantic search and the distance calculations are important. And again, the functions and everything is there for you natively, provided by SQL, PL SQL, but also encapsulated at the level of the open source Java frameworks, okay? The highlights here, you can generate the vector embeddings. We have the new vector data type. You can, do semantic search and target, the relational databases and retrieve the data. Everything is there for you. And again, everything is, again, on top of all the mission-critical mechanisms that we have, as part of our Oracle database for decades now. All right, so let's talk about RAG. RAG is a technique that we have because when you deploy a model at scale, and now there's something interesting because in the beginning, the different academia, universities, and the players and the tech companies, I have AI-related research here, and okay, I created my model, but I have a specific format, and the other company has this model as well, but there was no interoperability, okay? So I think Microsoft started an initiative and many companies joined called ONX, right? It is a kind of data format for interoperability, and also there's the ONX runtime. And that's good because now models, they can be exchanged, okay? So you can reuse the models, and also it has something interesting like checkpoints. It's a kind of save point because, you know, when you go and nowadays in terms of demanding computing resources, it's expensive because if I start to train a model, you know, today and 2 days later I have to start for any reason, okay? If I stop and I'm not, I don't have a mechanism to actually stop it and save what I achieved so far, that's a problem because the investment in terms of GPUs, computing power, you know, memory, disk, processors, network, even electricity, okay, that's considerable. So this ONX format enables it. You can save it, and then I can resume 2 days later, and that's a good thing. And with RAG, there's a problem. When you go and deploy this model at scale, actually, and the examples I have here, I'm using models that were deployed, I think, 1 or 2 years ago, just to show you the difference. The problem is that if I ask a model about a recent happening, you know, an incident, an event, whatever, the model will get me and send me an answer, but possibly that's, you know, imprecise, right? Because the model does not follow the events. So RAG is a technique that actually, let's say you are a healthcare company or a telecom company, and you have plenty of support cases and, you know, the recurrent cases there and, you know, the typical questions. So you can actually extract that, you know, as unstructured data, and then embed that as a vector embedding, and then you can reuse it to create a more powerful chatbot or support assistant, okay? And that's why it's important, because regardless of your business domain, okay, you can actually now, I would say, leverage the existing knowledge base to create solutions that will be really, I'd say, useful for your company, okay, and your organization. And that's what a RAG enables, right? I have a couple of blog posts here by my colleagues in the USA, one about RAG, one about GenAI. By the way, if you want to get a hold of my deck, feel free to ping me on social media. And I think that will be made available by Devox as well, okay? But at the end of the day, RAG, you get the unstructured data, you convert data into tokens, you create embeddings, and then you store them into the vector database, right? One of the examples that I have here with LangChain4J is about that. I will ask a question about who is Juarez Barbosa Jr., that's me, okay? And I'll get answers like, I don't know this person, or this guy is a football, you know, soccer player, and different answers. And then after that, I will ingest a PDF file with my, you know, a summary of my CV, and then you'll see that the answers are totally different. So that's why RAG is extremely useful for us, okay? All right, so let's have a look now at vector search with LangChain4J. I don't want to, I would say, talk that much about LangChain4J. Everyone knows it. I assume that if you are a Java developer and you are exploring GenAI, you know LangChain4J. The documentation is fantastic, as I said, and it has all the different components for you to address, you know, all sides of GenAI related use cases, okay? With the contribution that we provided to the project, okay, from the Oracle engineering group, we created the Oracle Vector store, okay, that is actually just the implementation of an embedding store. As I said, I have a blog post here that you can have a look to see what we contributed. It's extremely easy. Just one additional dependency jar that you can use Maven or Gradle to add to your application. And you can also use something interesting called UCP. Okay, UCP is the universal connection pool that we have. It's extremely optimized. UCP is interesting because if you have, as an example, a Spring Boot application, Hickory CP is the default connection pool, but UCP is better. You can just go there, specify a few properties, and then use UCP and override Hickory CP instead. And it works not only with the Oracle database, but open source databases as well, MySQL and other databases, right? So you should definitely have a look. Yes, when I create an embedding table, okay, and I specify that by calling the Fluent interface, this is the structure of your resulting table, okay? So if you want, you can just create the table from Java code. You don't even have to touch, a SQL script that's available for you. And we also have different ways of specifying indexing strategies, okay, depending on what you want to achieve. So you can, of course, go the next mile to optimize your application, right? It's just one additional call in terms of changing indexes. All right, so let's have a look at the examples now. This is the QR code for the example, as I said, there's a blog post. But if you go and look for my name, Juarez Jr. or Juarez Jr. Oracle Developers, and you go to the Oracle Developers blog on Medium, and you can just access the Java tab, and all my blog posts are there, okay? So the first example and the first thing I want to show you is actually this thing here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so this is an example with LangChain4J. You can see when I select from this database here, but maybe I can show you this, okay? This is the DDL to create a table here, and I have this vector data column, and the data type is the vector data type. And this number here is actually the dimension. Oh my God, sorry guys. Let me. Cool. Yes, okay, so this is the DDL. You can see create table, and the vector data is here, right, with the vector data type. This dimension is the dimension that you get from the model spec, okay, so you have to observe it. Some models, they have many different dimensions. Some models just have one, okay, but you have to align them, otherwise you will face some bugs and scenarios that are really difficult to debug. In terms of the actual vector, okay, when I execute this query here, and by the way, this is the one that I use the PDF file with my CV to augment the context with RAG, you can see the vectors stored here in my respective vector data type column, okay? Looking at LangChain4J DEM, I'm gonna do this, folks. I think it will be better. Yeah. This first example here with LangChain4J, actually what happened? I coded a solution in the beginning with LangChain4J because I wanted to present that before having our official contribution to the project, okay? But at the end of the day, if you look at the embedding store here, as I said, and I have this example as well. If you want to go, the hard way and see how you can do it and really understand what is being executed behind the scenes, you can just have a look at this implementation here. But you can see that I'm just implementing the embedding store, okay? But this is the first example with it. I will show you the example and the benefit of RAG. First, let's run this query here, where I have who is Juarez Barbosa Jr. and see, okay, as you can see, Brazilian footballer. Okay, I'm not that talented, but LLMs, the calls are non-deterministic. Okay, so if I execute it again, possibly I can get a different answer here. No, but possibly I would get, I don't know this person. But now if you go to, I don't know, Gemini or ChatGPT, and you ask about Juarez, as I told you now, the model ingested other resources, and they will give you, Juarez works for Oracle and blah, blah, blah. But I'm using an old model here just to show you the benefits. The second scenario that I have here is I ingest this PDF data, okay, that I can actually show you, I think, here. Nothing special here, okay, so descriptions here and pointers to my profile. Okay, so, but when I execute this one, you can see I'm just getting it from my class path, and I will log the model name and the dimension again because I wanted to emphasize it. And then you can see the affluent interface here with all the calls, including the distance configuration. Okay, so as I told you, that's extremely easy for you because all the complexity is encapsulated. Okay, and then I will possibly get a better answer because now I augmented the context of this interaction and RAG with unstructured data that's a PDF file that will provide me a better answer. And okay, now I'm not a soccer player anymore, but you can see that I got results that really reflect my profile, right? Okay, this is the first example then, and let me proceed here. And okay. Yes, okay, the easy way actually, instead of actually running that, with a custom implementation, now we have the official contribution by Oracle, okay, which by the way, I have this DB utils here. This is just about the JDBC connectivity, but we have, a pooled connection data source. That's actually the UCP connection pool that I talked about. And here again, I can just now run with the dependency that I added regarding the official contribution from Oracle to the LangChain4J project. You can see the dependency LangChain4J-Oracle, and that's what you need, okay? And then, of course, I don't need those many classes, 9 different classes that I coded, okay? This is just, of course, a simple example, but you can see how easy it is to run the same query now, okay, and I have actually a different scenario here. Okay, I will create 2 text embeddings here. I like soccer and I like Stephen King. And then I ask this question: what is your favorite sport? Okay, so if I execute this one here, you'll see similarity search and semantic search in action again, and then I will get the answer. Okay, I like soccer, of course, because that's I'm asking about sports, so that's one of the embeddings that I have, okay? So that's the easy way of doing it. Again, you can see that it's a non-verbose solution. It's extremely easy for you as a Java developer to use the Oracle Database 23AI as a vector store and LangChain4J, okay? Now, I have 2 additional solutions because there's LangChain4J has what they call now the low-level API, for chat completions, RAG, all those things. But now they created 2 new APIs called the AI Services API and the Agentic API as well. Okay, so with this QR code, or again, go to Oracle Developers on Medium and look for the blog posts. I have examples there. Also using a RAG scenario and the Oracle database, 2 different scenarios, but we are talking about agents now, okay, a more autonomous approach to that. And okay, so now let's have a look at RAG with Spring AI. Again, Spring AI, I don't want to overemphasize how good the project and the documentation is. It's under the same Spring ecosystem umbrella. Spring Boot, Spring Framework, everything is there for you. Okay. Again, there are some overlaps if you look at Spring AI and LangChain4J, or even now there's another player, the semantic kernel for Java provided by Microsoft, which, by the way, 3 days ago, we also provided our official contribution to the semantic kernel for Java project, okay? So I'll have a couple of blog posts published about that soon. So all the components and, and the different GenAI-related use cases and scenarios will be available for you. Spring AI is nice because you can also use things like, virtual threads. You can use also GraalVM. So you should have a look. And beyond that, in terms of the vector search, same thing here, Oracle Vector Store. Okay, so this one here, again, you can just use the Spring AI extension that we provided for the Oracle vector store, and then use the vector data store that is provided by Oracle as the mechanism supporting your embeddings. Okay, so it's extremely easy to configure as well. It follows the same approach, a fluent interface. You can specify all the params there in terms of the specific distance calculation and strategy that you want to use, and so on. Okay. Again, I can run an example with Spring now. This is actually a different one because now I have this technical guide by Oracle here. Okay, I will run the Spring application, and then I will actually show you the. Actually, I can do it now here. Okay, if I run this query here, you will see that actually. Okay. I have a similar scenario here where I ingested that technical guide, okay, and then I. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, cool. Yes, I have this technical guide here, okay, so I ingest it, again, unstructured data, and then I have the resulting embeddings here, all right? And I think now the last one that I want to show you, and also perhaps in action, as I have, okay, 5 minutes, is Hibernate Vector, okay? Okay, Hibernate Vector, that's nice. We have the Hibernate Vector module now as well as a contribution, okay? It is really nice because you know, you can use the Hibernate query language, and there are out-of-the-box functions that you can use as well, as you can see here, okay, to perform the distance calculations, okay? So if you are a Hibernate developer, okay, we are not creating something that you are not used to. It's extremely easy, and you know, you can go and naturally just you know, add the dependency to your project, and then identify the specific function, write the HQL query, and you're good to go again, okay, to deliver your solution. And I have a couple of demos with Hibernate here. Now I have to do this, okay, and maybe. Yeah. Okay, the first one is just a simple, it's easy here, okay? I have just one simple entity because, of course, this is for learning purposes. So you can see the annotations here, entity, and I specify the table name, and I'm targeting the table where, of course, I have the vector data, right? And then as part of that, I have to provide a stereotype of the SQL type here, and vector float 32. That's the type of my vector data column, okay? As I showed you, you have to specify the dimension and the data type, okay? And after that, no tricks here, okay? You can just go and run your queries. This example here, I just create some, I would say, fictitious vectors, and then I perform some similarity searches here, all right? So this example is extremely low level. I can just run it here, and you will see that I will retrieve some vectors, okay, based on the output that I want to filter out. But the more elaborate example, my second blog post, I have again another entity defined here with the annotations, you know, pretty much the same strategy. But now you will see that I have here the different distance searches, you know, L1, L2, and so on, right? So with this one here, I can just actually, again, show you the examples here, okay? It's easy for you, as an example, L1 distance search, okay? It's just a matter of having one specific query coded here, and then you can specify all the different strategies that you want to use, right? and it is as easy as that. Okay, so I can run this example here again, just to show you. Yeah, and I run all the different types of queries here, depending on the specific distance metric and the similarity search approach that I want to adopt. Okay, so again, everything is explained there, all the screenshots, every code line, section by section, everything is available for you. If you want to have a look, you can also get the source code and download the Oracle Database 23 AI. The last one that I want to show you is the Spring implementation with RAG, okay, that I talked about, and I showed you the data. Yes, this one, in a similar way, I have a low-level implementation here, but I have a couple of blog posts that present the contribution from Oracle to the official open source project, okay? And again, with Spring AI, it's just a matter of implementing the vector store interface, and then I did it at the lowest level possible, okay, as an exercise, and also to give developers an idea about what we do behind the scenes with the official contribution. But you don't need that. You just go there, and it's extremely easy for you to configure and use the solution, okay? Well, I think in terms of content, that's pretty much it. I just want to close by saying that, of course, GenAI and artificial intelligence, there's more than just the software architecture and application level. Okay, if we think about solutions architecture as well, we have things like DevOps, LLM ops, AI ops, machine learning ops, and we have to train the model, so model training nowadays is something that is extremely demanding in terms of resources. But as we start to deploy more and more solutions, inference possibly will become the main workload, okay? Again, all the blog posts and the technical refs are available for you, okay? So you can access them and explore what I presented here. And I want to just to finish by talking about Oracle Live Labs, over 700 free workshops that we have about all things Java, Golang, JavaScript, DevOps, Oracle Database, Oracle Cloud, Linux, open source, okay, free. Okay, so livelabs.oracle.com. Please, have a look. I think you will like the content there. And we have this Oracle ACE program. It's a program for distinguished community members, 3 different levels here, okay, associate, pro, and director. If you think that you have, some interesting contributions to the community, if you deliver meetup sessions, if you have a blog post or a blog, and you create blog posts and you have code samples, anything, if you organize and you are a community leader, feel free to approach me on social media. Let's work, and I will understand how far you are, identify the gaps, and possibly I can nominate you. Last thing, as I said, we have the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. This cloud is called Generation 2, redesigned and actually designed from scratch. Okay, we used to have a cloud called OCI Classic, okay, but we started this project by actually avoiding all the mistakes regarding the best practices and the industry approach to provisioning a cloud platform years ago. So as an example, we don't have mechanical disks, only solid state disks, terabyte networks, GPUs provided as with bare metal access, and so on. So have a look, I think, and there are some lifetime free services. As an example, 2 instances of the Oracle database with 1 GB of storage each, and other services, I don't know, email, services, if you have a quota, you can send, I don't know, 10,000 emails, and the next one, the quota will roll again, so you get another share of 1,000 email messages that you can send, okay? So if you have a side project, or if you want to, I would say, run a POC or anything, perhaps that's a good cloud for you. Once again, thank you very much. I hope you liked the content. I'll be here at the conference. If you want to ask some questions, you can approach me here now, or because I'm a little bit over my time, a couple of minutes. Once again, thank you very much.